So I have a question for everybody before we dive in, and come off mute. Let's have a conversation here. How many of you can, and I know some of you just started your business, but for those who maybe have been in business for a little bit, how many of you can go away for a month and do this and have your business run without you?
I can't even go away for a day. I've been working weekends. Say nothing about a month.
Okay.
Goals.
Goals, exactly.
That's where I want to be.
Okay, good. How long have you had your business?
I've been in business since 2017. I've had my brick and mortar since 2018.
Okay, great, awesome. Okay, Dr. Val, you're the ops ninja. Tell me you can go on vacation for a month and your business won't need you.
I can't go, but I don't know if I would say safely a month without logging in or wanting to.
Yeah.
We are celebrating our 25th year anniversary this year,
Awesome.
and there's some growing. There's still some, some scaling we still want to do.
Yes, absolutely. Always, right? It's always a work in progress.
Yeah.
So this is the goal of my presentation today, is to get you all to think about how you can think about your business so that you can go do this for a month, right? I think women sometimes approach business differently, not always, but they're, based on my experience and being a NAWBO member for 15 years and being an entrepreneur for 20 years, I've seen thousands of women-owned businesses, and oftentimes women will launch a business to help others because they have a passion, they want to support people. And we don't always think about, hey, how do I build a business that I can actually step away from for even a day or a week, right? That is operational without me. It's not 100% dependent on me. And I speak from experience. I had a marketing agency for 8 years prior to launching Hera Hub. And I had contractors and folks that worked for me on a project basis. But if I went on vacation for a month, I didn't make money for that month for the most part. So when I built Hera Hub, I wanted to create something that was a bit scalable, if you will, operationalize the business. So as was mentioned, Hera Hub is a co-working space and business accelerator. We have 7 locations. We've got locations here in Southern California, in Chicago, and Washington, DC. And I'll get into some of the nuts and bolts of the business here and how I scaled. So as I mentioned, been an entrepreneur for a long time. I like to say I'm proudly unemployable at this point. I would be a terrible employee. I've taught at the college level. I wrote a book called Flight Club, which I'll share a link to at the end if you're interested.
It's an amazing read. Shameless plug. I have to say it, especially early on. Sorry, Felena, but it changed my life, literally.
Awesome. Thank you for that, Pamela. I appreciate that. Past president of NAWBO San Diego. I was president, Dr. Val, for 3 years through the pandemic. I'm sure you can relate to that. And so excited to continue to see the San Diego chapter flourish, and then all chapters across the country flourish, of course, as well. And then I have 2 online programs, business accelerator programs, the Launch and the Growth Academy. So happy to get into some of that later if you like. We are female focused like NAWBO, but gender inclusive, and we're also a benefit corporation. And that's just a side note, but it's an important note for me. And again, when we talk further, I'm happy to answer any questions on that. The difference between a public benefit corporation and a B Corp. And a nonprofit. There's all kinds of, options now as far as, showing folks that you really have accountability and that you care about the community. Here's a couple pictures of one of our spaces and our community. We do lots of events, host lots of workshops, lots of learning and education. And we have members all over the country, which is pretty exciting. All right, so let's get into our 7 keys or tips for this idea of being able to go on vacation for a month. And be able to not have to check in on a daily or weekly basis. How do you actually scale and operationalize a business? And the first thing I want you to think about, and especially for folks that are a bit newer in business, is really honing in on this idea. Are you selling a vitamin or are you selling a painkiller? And I'm sure you probably heard this phrase before, but even for folks that have been in business for a while, it's really important to think about the aspects of your business that are truly painkillers for people. They really have an actual need. There is a driving need versus this is a nice to have, right? A lot of us are selling vitamins, right? And me included, to a certain market of people. And that's what I want to talk about here. There is going to be a market of people that sees your business as a vitamin. Your job, and really honing in on your target customer so you can truly scale, is figuring out who those customers are that truly see you as a pain killer. So I want to ask for input here. In your business, right? I'll pick on somebody if somebody doesn't volunteer. In your business, what product or service do you offer, and which market really truly sees that as a pain killer?
Okay, I'll go.
Great.
Offering payroll services, it can go either way. My first client was using an unnameable national service that was just a nightmare for him. And that was actually my in. And now, especially with this insurance, I'm his one-stop shop for everything payroll and HR related.
Awesome.
So that, I think it might kind of be both. And because a lot of times, especially in my industry, people don't realize the pains that they're having until it's too late.
Yeah.
So
absolutely.
Yeah. For a little bit of both.
I would suggest you're selling a painkiller by and large, Stacy, because it's absolutely needed, right? For a company. I mean, unless they, are paying people cash under the table, right? And there is a lot of pain. Pamela Wiley knows I have this whole system when we talk about trigger point in a business. What's the trigger point that somebody makes a decision? And having a bad experience with a payroll company is definitely a trigger point, right?
Yes.
And so that's a great example. This person had a bad experience. They had pain. They see you as a painkiller, relieving that pain. So just think about, again, the aspects of your business and that certain type of customer that you can really hone in on, where some people are like, yeah, yes, I need payroll. But it's not a burning need for them. Your job is to find those people and continue to find those people that have that burning need and see you as a painkiller.
Well, that's why I'm doing Aflac too, because it's like, okay, you don't want a painkiller? What about a vitamin?
Well, insurance, by and large, insurance, I mean, ironically, like pun intended, right, is a painkiller, right? Because we have to have it. It's something that's not just a nice to have, we have to have. So popcorn, right, is a little more of a vitamin, right? We're not like, you might have a craving for popcorn, but it's maybe not necessarily, killing a pain, right? So we have to think about our business differently, and market our business differently. The goal of this, and this is one of my favorite authors, Seth Godin. Some of you may know him. He wrote a book early on called Purple Cow. And it's like, how can you really, truly stand out from the market? An example of this, and ironically, when I put this presentation together, I didn't think about this. Nicole McDonald is becoming the president of NAWBO San Diego. She's been on the board on the sponsorship side for about 1.5 years, and she's transitioning into the president's position of NAWBO San Diego. So she's also a member of Hera Hub, and she created this, you can see this crossbody handbag called the Sash Bag. And, some people are like, okay, do I really need another handbag, right? How many handbags do you ladies have? Give me some numbers. 2, 5, 10, 20. Does anybody have like more than 20? Okay, awesome. No, not more than 20. Okay. So
my husband would kill me.
Right. Well, ironically, she has clients that have like 50 sash bags. Like, I'm not even kidding. They like collect these things. They're pretty amazing. But for her, she found this really, really strong niche of busy moms who were on the go. She herself was a busy mom. She had a meltdown at Legoland, which is a theme park out here, and with her handbag, and created this product. So just again, continuing to go back to what is the painkiller aspect of your business and who is the target customer that appreciates that. All right, number 2, document everything. Dr. Val is with me on this, I know, and I'm going to give you some examples here when I pan out of the presentation. I will share these slides and I will share this recording. There's a link to a tutorial in these slides on the concept of screencasting. If you're not familiar with screencasting, I need you all to fall in love with it. I use it like 10 times a day, and I have a tutorial on how to do that. So document everything. And we use a platform called Teamy. There are lots of great platforms out there. I'm happy to share some of those, but I'll give you a quick tour of Teamy if anybody's interested. Both our SOPs and our team communication from all our locations are in that one platform. Everything is searchable, everything is updated constantly. It is a living, breathing SOP, but also a team communication platform. So happy to talk about that more. So document, document, document. Okay, here's where I want to hear from some of you. Clear boundaries in business. This is where we have to start saying no, because if you are truly going to scale your business, you have to say no to some things. So I want to hear from you. What have you said no to recently that allowed you to focus more on building your business or scaling your business? Dr. Tiffany, I'm going to pick on you.
I don't know that I can think of anything specific, but
Did you say yes to something that you should have said no to?
not yet this year, because I've been intentional coming out of last year
Good,
not to say yes
good.
to everything, and actually step back from like showing up for everything, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
So while it was like a part of what I do, it is not necessarily getting me to the bigger picture of where I want to be. It was more exposure. But it's just time. Like, I don't do events like I used to do events. It's just too much on the back end, and then showing up to, like, it was just too much for me. So I think I'm doing more of, that sounds interesting. Tell me more.
Yeah.
And then when I hear them more, then I'm like, yeah, no, that's not really a fit.
It's so interesting. I want to bring this up. Thank you for mentioning that, because as NAWBO and us running all these events, right, it has been challenging. I mean, I'm sure you all feel this, where you set something up and you hope people come, and people are being much more intentional about what they're saying yes to. And I think, I've heard people say, the pandemic taught me to slow down. The pandemic taught me to maybe set different boundaries in my life. And so awesome to you for doing that. But it also, on the other side, provides us a challenge when we're on the leadership team for NAWBO and we're running all these events and we're trying to get people to show up. So it's a tricky balance. I don't know that we've struck that in San Diego, to be honest.
I don't mind. So I actually would love to be able to attend more things as a participant, and not be on a panel speaking, not be a vendor doing all the things like that part. I want to go and sit.
Yeah.
And be poured into, and not have to, consistently show up for others and on some of the things. So I need a better balance in that respect.
Good. Awesome. Thank you for sharing that. I want to hear from one other person.
I totally agree with her on that. And I went through with Doc, I totally agree. I went through withdrawal in doing so, because the beginning of the year, I was really intentional about the different organizations that I really wanted to go deep with, because sometimes you can, spread yourself too thin and not be able to do it with the greatest level of excellence. You're showing up, but you're really not present. Or, you're making cameos so you can be in so many different places.
Yeah.
And the finality of being able to build the relationships and all of that wasn't serving me well. But I promise you, I have withdrawals from it because I was there so much. And people start wondering, where is she? What happened? Because I haven't been seeing her. But it allowed me to be more intentional about the work with NAWBO and 3 organizations that I really wanted to go deeper with. And being able to do that and not going to everything really allowed me to go deeper, and the relationships are stronger, and I'm getting more out of it, and people are getting more out of me as a result of that participation. So I totally understand how she feels. But when you are looking at social, or when people are calling you, you're like, oh man, I missed that. I wish I would have gone to that. But I was able to get so much work done and much more organized. So I was able to practice what I teach too.
That's awesome.
I have a question on this
Yeah.
topic. So
Yeah.
like Michelle and I, we're both new. Our main goal is to gain clients. So how do you balance that? Because I'm a member of 2 different chambers and this, and I'm not going to say I go to all the things, but I try to schedule as much as I can, because
Yeah.
I need to sell myself.
Yeah.
At this point. Same with Michelle. I'm sure she can agree with this. So how do you, okay, so 2 questions. How much time do you give an organization before you decide it's worth being in or not?
Yeah.
Like, what's that deciding factor? And well, I guess that's pretty much it, because then from there, the part B kind of would fall in line with that.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Stacey, I know this isn't you, but here's what I see from a lot of people in running a membership organization, is we join a lot of things, we show up, but going back to like that, really understanding what painkiller do you sell and who is that target market that really truly sees it as a painkiller, and just like honing in on that intentionality of who you're meeting at those events. Because the challenge with networking events is you're meeting all kinds of people that actually are never going to be your client, right? Like
especially through the chambers.
The solo business coach or life coach isn't going to be your customer, right? And so, just really getting intentional. I say this all the time to folks. NAWBO has a national database of members. Like when was the last time y'all went to the NAWBO directory and like searched for people and reached out with intentionality and introduced yourself, right? Like, I see this, and again, I know this isn't you, but I do see a lot of folks with this kind of networking frenzy where they're just, it's like a land grab, I'm going here, I'm going here, I'm going here. And you come back with a stack of business cards and you're like, now I got to put those in my CRM system. And, now I got to follow up, right? Like, what if you just laser focused and when you go to that chamber event, the exact people that you need to talk to, you go talk to them, you have boundaries around those people that suck your time, to be honest, that just want to like pick your brain and chit chat, that are never freaking going to be your customer. Right. Truly. I mean, obviously we need to network and make friends and, build our referral networks and things of that nature. I'm being exaggerating a little bit here, but until you've done that, I would say don't give up on an organization. But I meet so many people that just kind of go in and they're like, I didn't get anything out of that, I'm quitting. Like with NAWBO, right? Like, I'm like, you didn't show up for one event. Like how,
right.
Well, I don't have time. Well,
do you think like a year is a good?
I can't answer that, Stacey, depending on
Fair enough.
How you operate in that environment. It could be 3 months and you could realize like, this isn't the group for me. Like nobody in here is going to be a potential customer if that's your focus, right? Like I network a lot of times to have, a trusted referral network, people I can refer my clients to. And so I'm not always going to an event like, I got to find my target customer kind of thing, right? But I've had my business for 11 years. I'm much more established, you're at the beginning. So it may look different for you.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
Felena,
Not what I wanted, but fair enough.
Yeah.
So sorry. Felena, you said something that
87 days. That's the time. Then no, I'm just teasing. Pamela.
You said something that I think is so important, and it's intentionality. Ladies, I haven't been doing this I've been doing what I do for a long time, but I'm only a little over a year in business. And once I like sat down and really honed in with a lot of guidance from some special people like Felena about who I serve, and then I knew who I was going to look for. And then my ability to allow myself to waste time was significantly altered. And I have said no to some things that I thought were going to be a good idea. But now that I can specifically tell my network who I'm looking for, who I work for, what I do and what I don't do, it's kind of changed the game. And guess what? A lot more of my time is sectioned out, right? I don't run willy-nilly anymore. And I was exhausted at the end of last year, and and not profitable, right? So that intentionality, I think, is so critical.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Thank you for sharing that, Pamela. I appreciate it.
That's
Um,
something
yeah.
too, really important is when you do join, leverage all the resources they have. Don't wait for it to come to you or think that just showing up is going to make that happen. Showing up is great because you do meet people, and it has its its fits and starts and good points as well. But leveraging all the resources NAWBO has, I don't know how many people have gone to the website or looked at all the different perks and different things similar to what you said. You got to go deep, and because the resources far outweigh the cost.
Yeah.
Yes, absolutely.
100%. I love it. Just a little side note, and again, I'll share this deck if you want to click through to this article I wrote for the Huffington Post on the science of saying I don't versus I can't. So I won't go into detail on that. You can read it, but very, very powerful way to set boundaries.
Mhm.
All right. Tip number 4, lead, don't sell. This is a big one for me. So my vision for Hera Hub that I set out from day one was to support over 20,000 women in the launch and growth of their business. When I am talking to a potential customer or potential licensee, I don't have to sell my business. I am leading, I am sharing my vision. And if folks want to get on board with that vision, great. If they don't align with that vision, that is absolutely okay. But I really, really, really encourage you to make sure that you are front and center with what that vision is for your business and what you're doing for your community, and really put that out front. That will absolutely has been a big, big key for our scaling and being able to open 7 locations across the country. Our first location opened outside of San Diego 7 years ago in Washington, DC. And so to be able to operationalize my business all the way across the country, and I wasn't even there, was a critical factor, was just setting that vision and intentionality and making sure that everybody is on board with that. Number 5, engage others to tell your story. And we've got a publicist here, so this is perfect. So Michelle, I'd love to hear from you on this. I'll give a couple examples really early on in the business. And this is interesting because it's kind of a counter to boundaries. I'm sure you all get asked to be on a podcast, to write something for this XYZ publication, things of that nature. And sometimes the tendency, I think, for us is to, excuse me, say I'm too busy, I don't have time for this. But there were a few little things I did very, very early on with Hera Hub. One was the story exchange that you see here up on the left. It's a nonprofit organization that tells stories about female entrepreneurs. And they found me and approached me and said, hey, we want to, do an article. We think what you're doing is interesting. Well, then they got funding to do a video, and they flew out from New York to San Diego, did a video. Then they got a partnership with the New York Times, and that video aired on the New York Times and then got syndicated to all the JetBlue flights because they had syndication through the New York Times. So that one article that I agreed to do turned into something that was, huge. It got syndicated through the Smart Brief. There were like all kinds of different places this went. So going back to the boundaries thing, do say yes to these opportunities because you never know where it will lead. And then this podcast, The Art of Mindful Wealth, also did very early on in the business. This woman reached out, Lisa Peterson, And I said yes. And a woman in Sweden heard the podcast like a year after I did it and reached out to me. And she ended up being a licensee in Sweden and opening a hair hub in Sweden. And I'm actually Swedish, and I got to go there and be there and, go to the place that where my family's from for the first time in my life because I said yes to this podcast. So Michelle, you want to underline anything I'm saying?
That is tremendous. And that is the art of good PR right there. That is a great example of what could happen and what successful PR is. You just don't know. You don't know who's going to be listening. You don't know who's going to be in a buying mood at that time, or who's going to get funding at the last minute, or who's going to have the great idea to pitch it to who knows who. And ironically, I just got asked this morning to write a chapter in a book.
Okay.
And I'm going to do it. So it's, I thought about it and I'm like, no, I don't have time. And I'm like, no, I'm going to do it. Yes, 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 yes. So this is amazing. This is truly amazing.
This is where
Good for you.
You undo the boundaries on this.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Congratulations.
Thank you. Yeah. And the PR, in my opinion, and I may not be using the right word, Michelle, but I call it laddering, right? Like you get one thing, then it kind of ladders to the next thing. And, the more exposure you get, it can kind of help you move up the ladder a little bit. So
exactly.
Just on that note, more recently, we got article was written about us in Entrepreneur Magazine by a contributor because we were the last female focused co-working space standing after the pandemic. So, just thinking about those things that are unique in your business that can get the media's attention, and hire Michelle to help you. Okay. Tip number 6, beware of shiny object syndrome. I see so many business owners that, they get pitched, we get pitched a lot, and we see a lot of Facebook ads or YouTube ads or somebody trying to get us to do something. And it's really, really easy to get off focus. And, there is a line like you may need, Stacy needs to add something to her business. Yeah, that's fine. But just make sure that it's not taking you away from that vision that you have set for your business. This has been a big one for me because I get all kinds of people pitching me to do all kinds of different things with our space, different business models. Hundreds of things over the last 11 years. And it really has been just that core focus and really staying the course and saying no to a lot of things that allowed us actually to scale the business. All right. And last tip, partner up, get creative. What I mean by this, and I'll give you an example. So I'm in the commercial real estate business. I have physical workspaces, and, but my true business, my vision, my passion, my sweet spot of what we do is building community through space. And, the commercial real estate industry is what I call PMS. So ladies, you're going to love this. Use this at your next NAWBO event. PMS stands for pale, male, and stale. The commercial real estate industry has lots of PMS, pale, male, and stale. And it is an old boys network, and it is incredibly hard to negotiate leases in these various locations. I get patted on the head a lot, especially early in the business. So to get creative and expanding, we partnered with a co-working space, an executive suite company called, ironically, Expansive. I reached out to the CEO. I asked for an introduction, and I reached out, and we negotiated that we would take some embedded space in their buildings, some of their buildings around the country. We just started with a pilot project in Chicago. So it took the commercial real estate piece off my plate. I don't have to negotiate the lease. I don't have to do the build out. Like, it saves on cost. It, allows us to open a space. I opened my space in Chicago from lease signing to opening in 6 weeks. It usually takes a year. So my point here is get creative. What can you do differently? Can you partner with somebody to grow a bit faster and take that piece of your business that perhaps isn't your sweet spot in business and allows you to do what you do best? So again, back to our vacation. My bonus tip is take a vacation because I know, Pamela, you're going to Paris in about a month, right? Are you still there? Oh, you're on mute still.
Are you asking why I'm going, or are you just
No,
asking?
I'm just pointing out that
Yes.
you're going to Paris for
Yes,
a
I am.
week or so, right?
And it's brought a lot of focus because I've got a lot to get done before I leave.
Well, that too, but also think about what can you do in your business over the course of the next 4 weeks that operationalizes it. So when you're in Paris, there's a way for you to make money, frankly,
Yeah.
right? Like creating those systems and processes in your business. So that's why I say, like, take a vacation and it'll help you realize all the things that you need to do to operationalize your business. So next time you take a vacation, you don't have to check email and do the things, things can hopefully run without you. So that is my 7 tips for scaling your business. Again, I wrote a book a few years ago called Flight Club, as in taking flight as an entrepreneur. It's really designed for folks that are even haven't launched a business yet. They're thinking about it and need a path to do that, or new business owners as well. So that's the basis of what I teach my Launch Academy, and Pamela has actually taught the Launch Academy. And happy to share more information about that through a partnership with NAWBO and Bank of America. So that is me. I will exit out of here, and we can dive in for questions. Oh, here's a slide and a little information on that Launch and Growth Academy. And the website is launchandgrow.org. Last year, we had about $250,000 of sponsored cohorts to go through both programs, sponsored by these various organizations. All right. I'm going to stop sharing. I can dive into Teamy, our SOP team communication platform. If you all are interested, we can dialogue. I can ask.
I'd love to see me. I'd love to see that.
Sure. Yeah. Anybody else interested in a quick tour? We'll just take
Is
a
that-
And also,
Your CRM you were talking about?
No, it's not my CRM. No. We have a CRM, we have a member management system. We have different tools. This tool is simply all our SOPs and processes, all the documentation in our business. So it's a learning management system. So everything from all the systems we use, how to pre-open a space, ongoing marketing, sales, membership, programs, events, space, bookings, financial, team, compliance, operations, etc. And this is what one of those sections look like. There's dialogue. Any dialogue around that particular topic is here. And then each of the areas of the business. So I'm in the membership section. So this gets into actually how you do everything step by step by step. So membership levels and benefits. A lot of these have screencasts on how to do things, obviously links out to the platforms, etc. There's like, I don't know how many pages, but probably thousands of pages of documentation. And then this is also our team communication platform as well. So we call all of our licensees, owners, spaces, the collective, and questions are being asked, daily, or, sharing information, things of that nature. The whole point of this is staying out of email. I can't tell you how many entrepreneurs that I meet, and Dr. Val, I'm sure you see this all the time. They are running their business by emailing each other, like pull out of email, because I always say this, I am a bottleneck in my business. If an email lands to me, then nobody else can help fix the problem or the issue. It has to go into Teamy. So the team can, chime in and support each other. I will be the bottleneck.
So is that your platform or a platform that you subscribe to?
It's just a platform we subscribe to. It would be referred to as an LMS, learning management system, that has both the communication piece and the opportunity to host all of our SOPs, all our systems, all our protocol, everything that we do. So anytime somebody has a question and it's not in Teamy, we then go in and create that, process and documentation and screencast and make sure we answer that question. So next time that question has an answer, literally almost on a daily basis, we're creating new content or we're updating the content based on all the systems. So our CRM is Zoho, our member management system is Nexodus, that's specific to the co-working industry. We use lots, we have a very large tech stack. We use Zapier to tie it all together and get all our, software platforms to talk to each other. So there's integration between platforms, but we use technology quite a bit at Hera.
Yeah, that's great, especially with multiple locations. So Teamy, are you spelling that T-E-M?
I'll put it in the chat. Yeah.
Okay.
So it's Teamy, T-E-A-M-I-E.
Mhm.
I'll put that in the chat. Let me pull it up so it's doesn't have our URL embedded in it. There you go. Yeah. So this is just one of many. I am not endorsing Teamy in any way, shape, or form.
You're not getting a kickback from them? Is that
I'm
what
not
you're
getting a
saying?
kickback, and I'm not necessarily even endorsing it. It's not for everybody, and there's new software that comes out every single day in this space. So hire somebody who knows what they're doing to help you pick the right platform. I saw a comment on, this would be great for NAWBO, Alabama. It's a heavy lift. We use in San Diego Slack for communication. And Slack can pick up some of this. I mean, it's a great communication platform. We use a combination of Slack and Google Drive and match those together, but it could be better, but who's going to maintain it when you have board roles, consistently rolling over? It is a challenge. And so I don't know that I would recommend, as a past president of NAWBO San Diego, for NAWBO San Diego to get into a platform like this. It's pretty complex. And if it's not maintained, it then becomes worthless.
Thank you so much, Felena. Thank you, ladies, for joining us. And I definitely will probably be reaching back out to you on some things, because I definitely want to. I was thinking about franchising versus licensing in my business.
Yeah.
So any feedback I can get from you would be great. And thank you for just taking the time out to speak to us and share this great information. I'm sure we're gonna have to, meditate on it. We get a lot of information. So you will be sending the recording so we can send it out to the ladies that's here on the call.
Yep. I will do
I
that.
appreciate that.
Thank you very much, Felena. Thank you.
Of course, absolutely.
Good
Thank
luck
you.
with your chapter, ladies.
Thank you.
Thank
Thank you
Felena.
all.
Have a nice
right.
day.
Take care.
Bye-bye. Have a good one.
Bye-bye.
You too.